Hello students, today we are going to read a new chapter in history, that is the rise of nationalism in Europe. Before this we have read about nationalism in India. Now we will talk about Europe, how their things changed, how they created their nation state, how they got their independence. Yes, there is a difference between Indian independence and European independence, because in India there was we got independence after the Britishers went off from here. So we were under the control of Britishers. In Europe there was no such kind of thing. There was basically the monarch, the Raja Praja kind of scenario. They got rid from it and they created a republic kind of arrangement, yeah, administration in their country. So the very first thing which happened in this chapter is that there is a painting which is painted by Friedrich Sori, and this painting is described in your chapter. Let us see. So in 1848, Friedrich Sori, a French artist, prepared a series of 4 prints. At a stretch, he is released 4 paintings. The painting which I showed you in the second slide, the slide just before this slide, is basically the painting which we are going to discuss in this chapter. So this picture shows his dream of a world made up of democracy, a democratic and social republic. The picture shows peoples of Europe and America marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom or liberty, holding the torch of enlightenment in one hand and the Charter of the Rights of Man in the other hand. On the ground you can see the fallen symbols of absolute governments. In his utopian vision, the people of the world have their own flag, identity, national and costume. From the heavens above, Christ, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. That means everybody, from even from heaven, people are happy to see the scene. So the French Revolution of 1789 popularized the idea of nationalism in Europe. French Revolution proclaimed that the people are the nations. They introduced the idea of la patrie, the fatherland, and la citoyen, that is the citizens. All citizens were guaranteed equal rights. A new tricolor flag, which was national flag, was adopted. Hymns in praise of the nation were popularized. People took oath to stay united. They paid tribute to the Matre. A centralized administrative system with uniform laws were established. Uniform system of weights and measures was adopted. Internal custom duties were abolished to promote trade within the country. French was promoted as the common language of the nation. French revolutionaries wanted to liberate the people of other European countries from autocratic rulers. They started wars against each European countries. So basically they thought that they are responsible, yeah, they are being sent by God on earth to liberate others as well. Students and middle class people of other European countries were attracted by the idea of French Revolution. They formed Jacobin clubs. They wanted to end autocracy in their countries. They welcomed Napoleon's army. They considered him as a liberator. Napoleonic Code, या Civil Code of 1894. Napoleonic Code abolished privileges based on birth. It established equality before law. It guaranteed right to property. It simplified administrative system. It abolished feudal system. Initially, the people of other European countries welcomed French army. They considered it as a liberating army. Later, they turned against the French rule due to following reasons. The European nations lost their political freedom. They went under French rule. Taxes were increased, censorship was introduced, people were forced to join French army. Changes introduced by Napoleon in Europe. Napoleon abolished feudal system, he simplified administrative system, he abolished serfdom and gave freedom to serfs. He introduced uniform laws, uniform currency and uniform system of weights and measures. Manorial dues were abolished, transport and communication facilities were developed, guilds restrictions were removed, Civil Code of 1804 abolished all the privileges based on birth. The impact of French revolutions on other European countries. French Revolution spread ideas like liberty, fraternity, and equality among the Europeans. Jacobin clubs were formed in different European countries. Liberalism spread, people opposed absolute monarchy and the power of nobles. People welcomed French army, they considered it as a liberating force. Absolute monarchy was overthrown in some countries. Later people turned against the French army, they began to consider it as an aggressor. Nation state did not exist in Europe during the mid 18th century. Modern nations like Germany and Italy were divided into kingdoms, duchies, and cantons. In Eastern and Central Europe, autocratic kings established empires in which diverse people lived. They spoke different languages and belonged to different ethnic groups. Social conditions of Europe in middle 18th century. Nobles who were landlords dominated the social life. They enjoyed many privileges. They spoke French language. Peasants constituted majority in the society. They were tenants and small cultivators. In Eastern and Central Europe, serfdom existed. Industrial developments resulted in the emergence of two social groups, workers and middle class. Middle class people were educated and were influenced by liberal ideas. Church had a lot of influence over social life. Clergy enjoyed many privileges. Main features of the class of landed aristocracy in Europe during the 18th century. Aristocracy in Europe was socially and politically powerful during the 18th century. They owned large estates in villages and big houses in towns. They collected heavy rent and manorial dues from the peasants. They spoke French language and were united by a common way of life. The families were connected by marriage relations. Impact of the growth of the industries on social, economic, and political conditions in Europe. Growth of industries resulted in the emergence of towns and cities. New liberal ideas spread among the people of the towns and cities. A new social class called middle class emerged. They were educated, they opposed privileges based on birth, and supported liberal ideas. It also resulted in the emergence of a new group called workers. They were united in their struggle for rights. Middle class consisted of professional businessmen, government officers, and teachers that spread nationalist movements in Europe. They were educated, they supported new liberal ideas, they wanted to put an end to privileges based on birth, they wanted to build nation states, they were against absolute monarchy, they supported a government based on people's consent. The liberal nationalists. The word liberalism originated from the Latin word liber, which means freedom. It opposed absolute monarchy and supported a government based on people's consent. They demanded a constitution and elected parliament. They did not support universal adult franchise. They wanted right to vote only for men with property. They wanted to end the privileges enjoyed by the nobles and the clergy. They supported individual freedom and equality before law. Liberals wanted freedom of markets. They wanted the government to remove all restrictions. They wanted all the restrictions on the movement of the goods, people, and capital to be withdrawn. They demanded the abolition of internal custom duties. They supported a common system of weights and measures and a national currency. In 1934, a customs union called Zollverein was formed in Persia. It abolished internal custom duties and reduced the number of currencies. Conservatism in Europe. Conservatism emerged in Europe in 1815 after the defeat of Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo. Conservatists supported traditional institutions such as monarchy, church, social order, property, and family. They did not want it to return to the pre-revolutionary days. They believed that the modern ideas would strengthen monarchy and make it more powerful and effective. Modern army, efficient officers, and abolition of feudalism and serfdom would make monarchy strong. The Treaty of Vienna of 1815. After the defeat of Napoleon, the leaders of Britain, Russia, Persia, and Austria met at Vienna and signed treaty. Bourbon dynasty was re-established in France. France lost territories captured by Napoleon. New kingdoms were set up along the boundaries of the France. Netherlands was set up in the north. Persia got territories along the west. Austria was given northern part of Italy. Russia got a part of Poland, was given to the Persian. Characteristics of the conservative regime set up in 1815. They were autocratic governments. They did not tolerate criticism and opposition. Censorship laws were strictly implemented to prevent campaigns against the government. People were not given food, freedom, and rights. Giuseppe Mazzini, Italian revolutionary, born in Genoa in 1807. In 1831, he was sent on exile for attempting a revolution. So he founded two secret societies, Young Italy and Young Europe. He supported the formation of nation states. He opposed absolute monarchy. Metternich described him as the most dangerous enemy of our social order. Duke Metternich. He was Chancellor of Australia. He was a conservative. He wanted to strengthen autocratic monarchy. He hosted the Vienna Conference that prepared the Treaty of Vienna. He played a major role in establishing conservative governments in several European countries. Up, Upheaval in France in 1830. The Bourbon dynasty was overthrown by liberal revolutionaries. A constitutional monarchy was installed with Louis Philippe as its head. Revolutions started in other European countries. Belgium won freedom from Netherlands. Greece won freedom from Ottoman Empire.